and give to the poor, that's right. We may look like sissies, but watch what you say or else we'll put out your lights.
These are my Salamanders, Devastators, and Infernus Marines that I've been trying to finish up. I'm still not done, even after this video. As you can see, some of the bases still need to be finished. But I got to a point where I was like, man, I'm going to have 14 hours of this crap. And it's just not that exciting to watch a guy paint. But this is what I call Tabletop Plus. It's it's more than what you would need to get the pieces ready for the game, but less than what I would do if I was going to enter a piece in the competition. It's like I want them to look really, really good on the tabletop, but at the same time, we don't have our entire lives to paint these things. You know, if you spent to get a piece ready for, like, say, a competition, I could spend 3, 4, 5 hours on one single piece. And you're trying to get an army ready to play with. You don't. By the time you got through them all, you would lose your mind and you'd probably quit the hobby. So I have a 4-step process that I do where, at the end of that 4 steps, they look pretty good. They're not, and it's easy. It's easy and anybody can do it. Just like everything else on my channel, it's a compromise. When I'm working out with the camber bar, and I say that it's a really awesome chest exercise, I get comments that say, well, dumbbells are better. Yes, I would agree with that, but it's all about efficiency. It's about what equipment do you have laying around and how much time can you save by utilizing that equipment rather than what is the absolute best way to work out. Well, it's the same thing painting. Is it the best way to paint? No, but it's efficient. It's quick, and anybody can do it. The steps are as follows. First, prime. Spray paint them all black, and then I'll dust them with white. I believe that's called Seneca coat. And all what that does is it lightens the area that the sun would hit the miniature in real life. And so when you're putting paint on it, it's better for shadows. So basically you spray paint them all black, dust them with white paint, kind of makes them a gray color. Then with a watered down base coat, you color everything into its normal primary color. That excludes shading or any fancy painting. You just paint, like if it's going to be red, just paint it flat red. If it's going to be green, just paint it flat green. Color it in. Third step is then tone it. You can do, what do they call it, neem oil or gnome oil. Or in my case, I use just a black shader and I shade the entire piece. I darken all of it. Then I go back in and highlight it again. I lighten it. So basically, darken the creases, lighten the bumps. And then you finish it up with just your finishing touches. All your little bits and bobs. Like the eyeballs or the little purity seals. Highlight the gold pieces, stuff like that. Here I'm doing 14 of these at a time, and to me I think that's a little bit too much because it's taken me 3 weeks. Now keep in mind I work full-time and I train and I have a bunch of other stuff that I do, so I don't have a lot of time to dedicate to painting. I have maybe an hour a night, occasionally a couple hours on the weekend. So 14's a bit much. I would say 5 or 6 at a time is probably an efficient time of use if you want to get them on the table as quick as possible. So, who or what am I painting here? Let's go into it a little bit. The Salamanders, Warhammer 40k, Space Marines, Astartes. The Salamanders, originally known as the Dragon Warriors, they're the 18th Legion of the 20 Space Marines, of the legions created by the Emperor of Mankind. Their Primarch, or boss man, that's the big guy I painted, Vulcan. He is a perpetual, meaning you can't kill the guy. He just keeps coming back. So the Primarch was Vulcan. The Legion remained loyal during the Horus Heresy. And for those of you not familiar with that, that's Warhammer 30k. Horus was one of the Emperor's sons. And it's kind of like follows, if you want to compare it biblically, or to mythology, Horus would be like Satan, one of the fallen. And he took a bunch of the legions with him, and they stood up to the Emperor of Mankind, who would be, I guess you could compare him canonically to God in this narrative setting. So it has a lot of, I don't know, religious undertones that do sort of follow. I wouldn't say maybe not the Abrahamic religions, but more mythological stuff. Like, like the Greek gods or the Roman gods, that pantheon, it would be, but it does have a lot of Catholic or Roman Catholic subtlety to it. As a matter of fact, I guess you could make an argument that you could be running the risk of heresy or idol worship by participating in the hobby. But I don't know. I think that we, as a grown man, you can delineate fiction from reality. But I tell you what, man, some people get really, really into it to the point where it consumes them. And I suppose at that point, anything that's all-consuming, anything that replaces reality, there's definitely that could be considered idol worship if you participate in the Abrahamic religions. I don't really see things that way. I don't know. I see it as a harmless hobby, but yeah, I have to admit that sometimes when I'm reading some of this stuff, like Abaddon the Despoiler, there's definitely some satanic or demonic stuff that's in this hobby. But they said the same thing about Dungeons and Dragons. I don't know. I don't see the harm in it personally. I think it's a lot of fun. But I don't know. What do you guys think? You think any of you religious guys out there? What do you think about that? So of all the legions you can play, because each one of them fits a different personality, you got if you wanted to find what would be considered an actual good guy in Warhammer 40K, because basically everybody's evil. It's just a messed up galaxy, and everybody's got an excuse to fight each other. And often, it's been noted that Space Marines don't really care about civilian casualties or who gets hurt while they're purging the galaxy of chaos and Xenos and heresy. Yeah, nobody's innocent, right? But the Salamanders, one thing about them is they're one of the few legions that actually goes home to their families in between their campaigns, and they spend time among their community, and it's been noted that they actually care about human lives and will often go out of their way to protect civilians, even at the cost of a battle win. And this was seen in the War of Armageddon, when they basically sent some backup troops to the Black Templars, who were pressing the Orcs pretty hard, and they had the Orc war boss, and they could have gotten them, but the Salamanders would not leave the civilian areas. They were protecting the civilians, and it caused a lot of friction between the Black Templars and the Salamanders commander, and basically called them cowards and said that we could have gotten them if you would have backed us up. And he said, no, our duty was to protect the civilians, and that's where we're staying. So they're like the true good guys, I didn't really know that when I picked them. I picked them because I just thought they looked cool. I'll be honest, now I'm just trying to get them done. It seems like I've been painting salamanders for an eternity, the last 2 years of my life, on and off, and I want to try other stuff out now. I really, really like Deathwatch. Fun fact, because of the homeworld they grew up on, all of them have black-colored skin, almost like a charcoal black, with glowing red eyes. And so they almost kind of look demonic, but they're the friendliest Marines that are in all the legions. Like, often you could strike up a conversation with them, and they'll actually talk to you, and they'll break bread and laugh and hang out, whatever, play Parcheesi. Whereas, generally speaking, most people are intimidated or afraid of the other Marines, and they wouldn't give civilians the time of day. Yeah, man, the salamanders are cool. I just dig them. I can't. The one thing I found in their lore, though, was there was a planet that basically it was found that the civilian population was worshiping elves that were on the planet. So they wind up killing all of those people, and they burned them all alive with purifying flames. And, but it was noted that they felt bad doing it. So I guess if you do get on their bad side, they'll just roast you alive. So even the friendliest Marines in all of the legions are still known to get a little genocide going every once in a while. You know what I mean? So, why are they named salamanders? Salamander is a creature that's found on their homeworld. It's basically a big dragon without wings. The salamanders they're usually hardy warriors, even for space marines. They tend to be generally on the larger side. Their Primarch Vulcan was the tallest of the Primarchs, second only to the Emperor. They have regenerative capabilities similar to the salamanders they're named for. Their favorite weapons are the hammer, the flamer, and the melt-a-gun. Oh, man. Basically, they try to imitate the fiery dragons of their homeworld and bathe everything in flame. You'll enjoy fielding salamanders on the tabletop if you think firepower is your thing. If you're into flame, if you love running flame units, you like close and dirty, the salamanders are definitely the army for you. Now, while they are loyal to the Emperor, they follow the Promethean cult. That incorporates nocturne folklore and the teaching of the Primarch Vulcan. His philosophy shapes the Legion both in battle and outside of it. It's basically a creed that he uses. Kind of like, I don't know, it's just like every other, like the Marine Corps has their God Country Corps, that sort of thing. It's their doctrine. For them, it's one of their war cries is into the fires of battle, unto the anvil of war. And one of the things about the salamanders is their Primarch Vulcan. He was basically a craftsman. He would make beautiful artifacts and weapons, supremely powerful weapons. And he wanted all of his sons to be craftsmen. So they spent a lot of time with the hammer and the forge. The interesting thing about the salamanders is, unlike the rest of the Marines, they often have better gear and weapons than the Mechanicus provides. The Mechanicus provides the weapons for all of the other legions, but often, due to the craftsmanship of the salamanders, their custom-created stuff tends to be better than what you can get basically from the manufactorums of the Imperium, almost to the point of I guess it's considered heresy to create anything new. They kind of toe that line. It's funny, when I'm making these videos, I try to assume that whomever's watching it has never seen Warhammer 40k or they're not familiar with it. So I try to break it down kindergarten style. And every time I try to explain something as it relates to another faction, I find myself asking the question, well, what is that? What if they don't know what that is? So then I'll try to explain that, and I'm like, well, what is that? What if they don't know what that is? And I just realized, like, 40k is complicated. Man, like, trying to explain it as like kindergarten style to someone who's never seen it, it's like my kids telling me about their Pokemon collection. Well, I get home from work and I'm sitting at the table and my son's like, and I got this card and it does this, and then it's got this power and it does that, and I'm like, and then he's got this power and then he does that, and then when you do that, it generates that, and then just staring blankly. I guess that's what it would sound like with the 40k lore stuff. There you go. This is pretty much the finished product. I have a little bit of touching up that I'm still going to do to them, but essentially, these guys are ready to go. I'm ready to get them on the tabletop and ready to get them playing. Let me know what you guys think. A little bit of lore to help you go to sleep to. I'm trying to use my golden, what is it, who's that actor? I'm channeling my inner Sam Elliott. Coors, the banquet beer. I don't know. Anyway, let me know what you guys think. I love you guys. I will see you on the battlefield.